Hello everyone, Zelrinth here, and today I thought I'd just make a quick video on the live stream that's coming up tomorrow for the CN version. We've got some more information on that, and I kind of want to give my thoughts on what we can fully expect going into this video, just from based on how I think they're working with it. So the first thing is we saw the original announcement that they are having a live stream tomorrow, and the big hint that it's going to be an electric unit, as we can see here. Now, one big thing for anyone that wants to watch it, when it comes to knowing what time it's actually going to be at, you can look at the announcement on Discord, whether it's the official Discord or my Discord in the CN news section. It says March 16th, 6 a.m. for me, but this timestamp here is actually based off of whatever your time zone is. So this is going to be the time that it is for you. This is updated based on your computer settings on where you're at. So for me, I'm on Central Standard Time, so it is going to be at 6 in the morning. If you're on Eastern Time Zone, you're going to see 7 in the morning. If you're in Europe, you're going to see something a little bit later in the afternoon. So we'll just kind of have to see. Just look here, and that'll give you a good time when it's going to be. Now, I plan to set up a live stream that will start about 30 minutes to an hour before it. I plan to get up and live stream and watch this. Now, we're not going to be able to understand anything in this video in terms of what they're saying, but we're going to be able to see everything. And as you know, we just did the last live stream that was really good there. And even if you couldn't understand everything they were saying, you would get the gist of everything. You would see all the new skins, the new game modes. You would have saw all of Klukai's skills as she was doing them. You wouldn't have been able to read any of the numbers on what damage they do and all that. But we'll get translations for that not long after. And after that, I'll make a follow-up video on that stuff. But we'll have a very good idea of what we're seeing watching that live stream. Now, one update that we did get here that they posted today was actually who the character's going to be. And that is going to be LEVA or UMP-45, which is, from what I understand, the fan favorite that they were hinting at before, talking about the next character coming up. I don't know anything about the original game, but I've seen a lot of excitement on this character, and I kind of have to look into her lore to get a little bit of better understanding on her. But I know when I've looked for figures for Girls Frontline, she is definitely a top one that you see a lot of. So I'm quite excited to see how she comes out. Now, one thing I can speculate on, which we're going to kind of talk about a little bit here, is her being an electric unit and what I think we're going to kind of see with this live stream. And these are all speculation and guesses. The live stream and the information we get after the fact will be the truth. Mine is just speculation, just kind of thinking of how I think they should be handling it from a business standpoint. And I actually think it'll be really good for us if it works the way that I fully expect it to be. First thing I think we're going to see tomorrow, since she's an electric unit, is we're going to see Mosin Nagant's expansion key. I think Mosin Nagant is the next big one to have an expansion key on the CN side. I think they are revamping electric in the same way that they are working on physicals. One of the big problems they have, and one of the things that I've seen people mentioning, is on the global, we've had Diane, we've had Cinerisi, we've had Macchiato, we've had Allred Suomi. So the only two units, if we go all the way up to Klukai, Mekti, Vector, the ones we know are coming up in global next, you would notice we're skipping Lena and Jayu. And then the units that would be after Zhaohai, Klukai, and Vector, the ones that came after them, are Belka and Andrus. So all of the units that haven't been done on global yet, if you count all the ones we currently have and want to look at CN's order, it's going to be the electric units. And so I think UMP-45 is going to be, she's going to kind of be that Yuhi equivalent, and in the capacity that she is going to elevate the electric up and make them significantly more valuable. I think this is going to be I think it's from a business standpoint, from their perspective, by doing that, by bringing out a character that elevates them in the same way Yuhi does. Or even you could say how Springfield and Tololo, when Springfield came out and Tololo got her expansion key, Tololo was kind of falling off. Her expansion key made her amazing, and then Springfield made her broken. I think the same thing we're going to see with Levy or LEVA. Is it LEVA or Levy? What is? I think it's LEVA, isn't it? LEVA, and I should just call her UMP-45 for now until I get the actual name, because I could be saying it wrong for all I know. But until we get her, I think she's going to bring Mosin Nagant way up in value. Mosin Nagant is already good if you got her at V6. So I think the expansion key of Mosin Nagant is going to be something that brings her to the similar equivalent of her V6. And if you do, for some reason, get Mosin Nagant's V6, even more good. But I also think she is going to bring the entire electric team up in value. Now, it's going to be kind of hard to say because if you think about it, Andress, Belka, Jianzhu, Lena, and Mosin Nagant, that's 5 people. And right now that you're fleshing out your team, so you kind of have to drop one of them off in terms of that. But I think that it's going to be a good incentive to want to pull for the other electric units. And so how now we've had Yuhi coming out to the global side of things, it's going to make people incentivized to want to pull physical if they get her. I think we're going to see the same thing on that. But yeah, that's, I think the biggest thing I'm expecting to see is an expansion key for Mosin Nagant. I think we already have an expansion key for Jianyu, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she already has her expansion key, and her expansion key actually does bring her value up, although will see, even with her expansion key, Jianyu is one that we see a lot of people saying that you still want to skip unless you're willing to go more in depth in her pulls. But we'll have to see how UMP-45 interacts with the electric units, because I think Jianyu is really good if you can really get her core of her kit working. And that's the big reason people want her say you need her dupes, is because her core of her kit is very hard to use without all of her dupes. But I think UMP-45 is going to make that easier. I think Lena is going to have more value. One thing I expect to see is they did talk about new difficulty molds and new content to kind of shake things up. I think we may see something that's not just a big boss with a lot of health, but instead something that requires more debuffs per se. And one thing UMP-45 could do that could really bring the value up of Lena is make it where debuffs maybe increase damage significantly. The more specific debuffs now turn into not only debuffs, but damage amps or some other kind of buff benefit. And that would bring like Lena's value way up, because everybody's going to say, I know a lot of people are going to say skip Lena. And she's one of the few where I'm like, no, she is a must pull for me, in my perspective. She has a very good common key. Her kit's really good. The reason everybody puts her on low value is because there isn't content for her at this point. But I think that's what we're going to see with the UMP-45 and maybe their new difficulty mold type stuff. I think she's going to go up in value. And then who knows what we could see on Belka and Andress. I don't think Belka and Andress have expansion keys yet either. No, Belka does not, and I don't think Andress does. But I don't think we have expansion keys for anybody yet that came out after Klukai on the CN version. Yep, nothing there. But I have not actually looked heavily into Belka or Andress's kits to have enough knowledge on them at this point. I know they're the best right now on the electric side, but I'm expecting to see a lot of value come out of them with her. And then kind of the rest of it we'll have to see. But that is kind of my prediction, is this event is going to have Mosin Nagant's expansion key. I'm like, I'd say 80% chance is my guess. 80%. I feel fairly confident we're going to see a Mosin Nagant expansion key, because I think we've seen one for just about all of the standard units except her at this point. I think Sabrina hasn't had one yet, and maybe Parita. But we just got Veples on CN side, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be Mosin Nagant's, and this is going to be the content that brings electric up and kind of prepares global for electric when we actually start having electric units come out. Because I fully expect on global, after we have Klukai, Mekti, Vector, Jahoy, and Yuhi, I expect us to then actually start seeing Lena, Xianyu, Belka, Andress. I think they're going to just do back-to-back-to-back electrics. And if UMP-45 is the one that puts them all together, maybe they bring UMP-45 all the way to the front and we get UMP-45 first, then Lena, then Jianyu, then Belka, then Andress. My guess, just a guess, I have no clue, but I don't expect us to get, say, Springfield very quickly. I think they may save her for a similar to CN, closer to first anniversary. I don't see her being a half anniversary character. Actually, I think when I looked at it, the last person they do for the group that we know, so the whatever the one, whether it's Vector, Yuhi, or Jahoy, whichever one is the last one to come of that group, I think that is actually on half anniversary, which actually makes me think it might be Yuhi that comes last, but we'll just have to see in that capacity. But I think we're going to see that kind of build up on the electric side after them. But like I said, these are all guesses, and it's just my predictions. We'll see how accurate I am tomorrow when we do watch the live stream. And then after the live stream, I will do a follow-up on all of my thoughts on it, what we see coming up, and then any translations that we see on that, I will give that information as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And then if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.